This video is brought to you by Sony.
Okay, today I wanted to talk to you about the cameras that I would recommend for anybody just starting their YouTube channel and what Sony cameras I would recommend to you because I love the Sony ecosystem. But before we get started, if it's your first time here, my name is Roger Sang and we're going to talk about some tech today. So let's talk about the cameras that I would recommend for any new YouTuber. Now you get a couple of jobs to be done here. One is you want to record video and produce your content, but the other factor of that is that you worked so hard in making these videos that I believe that your videos should be seen. So thumbnails are really important for that. Promoting it across your social channels like Instagram, where I value an important thumbnail and the quality of a picture to draw people in. Because yeah, you make a beautiful video and you tell your story, but what good is it in social media if nobody's going to view it? So the reason I choose these cameras is one, the price point, and then two, the other thing is I'd like my cameras to do both photo and video. And there are cameras out there that are really good at either. So here's some of my favorites for both and also fit in a decent price point. Okay, first up is the Sony ZV-E10 Mark II. This version just came out this year. This combination here is with the 16 to 50 millimeter zoom lens. I think it's a great lens to get started with, but the only caveat compared to the other cameras we'll talk about today is that this one is a crop sensor camera, which honestly, a lot of those things are bringing it to a lower price point. So this is the Sony ZV-E10 Mark II. And then next up is actually my favorite go-to camera. This was announced a little over a year ago. This is the Sony A7CR. The C in the A7C line means compact, and these are compact cameras. They're pretty small. They're not super small, but they're portable, and I love them so much for their form factor. Now, when the A7CR was introduced, so was the A7C II, and they're both great cameras. And you know, let's make a spot for it right here. I don't have the A7C II because I went with the A7CR. Pretty much almost the same camera, but geared more towards photographers, but you can still do the hybrid approach of doing both video and photo. So let's put the A7CR here, and then I'm gonna magically put the A7C II right there. Okay, and then our third/fourth camera that I would recommend is the Alpha ZV-E1. And one thing I forgot to mention is that they're all part of SonyAlpha line, the camera line, but I'm using jargon here by calling them by just the end of their product names. But yeah, the ZV-E1 is a beast. This is a really good camera for video. And sometimes people ask me, what is my A camera and what is my B camera? I'll give you the spoiler right now. These are the two cameras that I use. Sony actually sent me out this one for a loaner, so thank you, Sony, for that. But these are actually the cameras that I use for content. Everything that you see is mostly shot in these two. So let's talk about what I like about these, and I'll just label down here the features that are in here. So like I mentioned, we have a crop sensor on the ZV-E10 Mark II. We have full frame sensors on the A7C II, A7CR, and the ZV-E1. I like the look of a full frame sensor. In my opinion, I think it's just a look preference on what you want your images to look like. I love going full frame since I jumped on that years ago. And I feel like full frame's a little more on the professional end of things. But honestly, the APS-C sensor is still really good. Like, if you're just getting started, you can't beat this. So let's talk about price real quick. The ZV-E10 Mark II weighs in, with this combination here with the lens, it weighs in at $1,099. Then you have the A7C II, which is weighing in at $2,199. You got the A7CR that's weighing in at $29.99. And then you have the ZV-E1, which is generally $21.99, but is actually on sale at the time of this video. As I'm filming this video, it may or may not still be on sale, but at the time of filming this video, it is on sale for $18.99. And this is a beast of video. So here's what's really cool is you've got great autofocus across the board. You have 425 phase detection points on the ZV-E10 Mark II. And then on these three, you have 759 phase detection points with AI-based subject recognition. So what this is that auto tracking where you want to stay in focus or you keep your subjects in focus. This will track that with the added ability of AI for your assistants, which is really good. These three shoot 4K up to 60 frames per second, but since the ZV-E1 is a video powerhouse at this price point, you could actually shoot 4K up to 120 frames per second or full HD up to 240 frames per second. Really good. With the ZV-E10 Mark II, you get electronic image stabilization, and it's pretty good. But then with these other three, you have 5-axis in-body image stabilization. With A7C II, you get up to 7 stops. And then with the ZV-E1 dynamic active mode. So it kind of crops it a little bit, but it gives you kind of a smoother image if you need that. I'll just flash the weight on the screen for you. They're all pretty light in my opinion. It's when you get the glass on there, that's what weighs more. So let's talk about the pros and the cons here. With the ZV-E10 Mark II, it is compact and lightweight. It's ideal for vlogging and travel. It has an affordable price point, and it has this articulating touchscreen. This is a touchscreen for flexible shooting angles. Now, it doesn't have in-body stabilization and no electric viewfinder. See, right here you have viewfinders. No electric viewfinder, and it has limited battery life compared to the higher end models like these. So that is the ZV-E10 Mark II. Now let's talk about, as I mentioned, the A7C2, A7C are very similar cameras, a little bit of a higher price point to get that extra boost in megapixels. But since I'm only talking about the three here, let's talk about the A7CR. So the pros and cons is that it has a great high resolution sensor for detailed images. It is pretty compact for a high resolution compact camera, and you have an advanced autofocus system with AI capabilities. Now, there's a bit of a premium price point. You're at $29.99 for this thing. And because of the higher resolution, you do have somewhat larger file sizes for your images. In all of these cameras, I wouldn't put in the pro line, maybe prosumer, but they only have a single SD card slot. So no redundancy there, which is really good if you're doing professional shoots, but if you're making content, I think it's pretty good. So that is the A7CR. Now I picked up the ZV-E1 later on because it's awesome and I wanted a good B camera. The ZV-E1 is a very video focused camera. It has excellent low light performance due to larger pixels. And as I mentioned before, you can get higher frame rate video recording for slow motion footage, and it's compact design tailored to fit content creators. This might be for those that if you want to take great video and maybe photos aren't a high priority for you, the ZV-E1 is a great camera. This is a great video camera. Of all these cameras, this one is the winner in video. Now the cons of that is that it has a lower resolution sensor and it's less ideal for high detail stills and images. There's no electronic viewfinder, as you do have on the A7CR, and it has a shorter battery life during intensive video recording because the video is using so much in there, but still a great camera. So aside from the A7C2, these are my three recommended cameras because for me, I also love photography and this gets me in that realm of photography. Good B camera or even a primary camera if I'm shooting just video is the ZV-E1. I feel like in my content creation journey, I feel like I've evolved from the crop sensor cameras. And so while I don't shoot with a crop sensor camera anymore, it's still a great camera, especially for the size. Like that's a great camera for the size. The video quality is excellent on it and the price point, you can't beat that. So let's talk about why the ZV-E10 might just be the better pick for you. First of all, it's way more flexible. You're not limited to a fixed lens because there are other cameras at a lower price point meant for vlogging from Sony, but you can't interchange the lens. I would go with this one because it is a good option to have interchangeable lenses for you to change up your shots. And because of that, it makes it way more flexible. You're not limited to a fixed lens, so you can swap out lenses to match your style or project. Plus, it has a better battery life, which is a lifesaver if you're filming all day. With the sensor, you're getting a good dynamic range, sharp details, and better overall image and video quality. So I'm going to categorize these on what they're great for. So we'll talk about the ZV-E10 Mark II. It's best suited for entry-level vloggers seeking a compact and affordable camera with interchangeable lenses. Now the A7CR, it's tailored for professionals needing ultra high resolution images in a compact form factor. And then we have the Sony ZV-E1. It's designed for content creators focusing on video, offering advanced video features and great low light performance. So, I mean, each camera has its different needs. So consider your primary use cases as vlogging, photography, or professional video production. They all have their strengths and weaknesses and their different price points, but I've narrowed it down to these three, which I like at this point, currently in time. These are my three top picks. So if you want to check them out, I'll have an affiliate link in the description. Please purchase through there if you do decide to purchase, and I get a little kickback as a commission for introducing you to your new cameras. So if you found value in this video, please don't be shy to let me know by hitting like and commenting below on which camera you would choose. And also, if you want to follow along for more camera and tech reviews, please hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.